It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant Pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our special free agency edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live right here on Giants.com and the Giants mobile app. We have squeezed ourselves into our set here on Big Blue Kickoff Live as the free agent negotiating period begins right now. Across the National Football League, teams are now able to negotiate with free agents from other teams. That goes on until Wednesday at 4 o'clock when signings can become official. And just want to note this, and we'll be repeating this throughout, so I feel bad if you get bored of me saying it, but everything that's going to get reported for players that are unrestricted free agents, so players that are not waived players, those deals are not official until Wednesday at 4 o'clock. They will all be according to reports, pending a physical, agreed to terms. None of that becomes official until we get to Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Don't forget, Big Blue Kickoff Live is presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. We are here snug in the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. All right, guys, we talked about a million things about what the Giants might do, so I don't think we need to rehash all of that. But we did get a lot of stuff that went on over the weekend. And I think the theme that I'm getting out of it is that teams might be a little bit nervous as to how aggressive this free agent market might be and how expensive players might be. So you had the Ravens trade for Max Crosby over the weekend with 2 first-round picks. So a little less than the Micah Parsons price because they also got Kenny Clark in that deal, but still substantial.
Which, thank God, he did not end up in the NFC East.
Yeah, and the Cowboys tried.
2 of the teams that were linked to him, the Cowboys obviously tried hard. The Eagles had some connection, some links to him. So just thank God he did not end up there.
I mean, I will say this, though. I actually like, I guess from our perspective, dislike the Rashawn Gary move for the Cowboys more because they keep pick number 12. They pay him about $13 or $14 million less, and they only trade a 4th-round pick to bring in Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary, maybe 2/3 of the player that Max Crosby is, maybe somewhere in that area. But I think, Jalen Phillips is still out there. Khalil Mack re-signed with the Chargers, so it was looking like it could be a very aggressive edge market, Paul. A couple big moves over the weekend. Takes one guy off the top of that market, Mack, but then the 2 trades, I think teams are worried that guys like Jalen Phillips and Trey Hendrickson would cost a lot of money.
Well, and Phillips also has some medical history, too. So you're taking quite a gamble. If you're going to pay big money for him, you're also throwing some dice against the wall, too. Now, Hendrickson's a different story. He hasn't been as badly banged up as Phillips, although he's been banged up too.
Well, he was very healthy until this last year when he had a core muscle injury. So It wasn't like an ACL or anything like that.
His medical sheet is a lot less than the other guy. But, nonetheless, you're talking about big money. Look, what did we talk about all last week on this program about how there's a minimum requirement of money that has to be spent, and there are a handful of teams who are way under that and have to overspend. And you said to me, You said it right to me in this very chair, John. You said, Paul, you know what's going to happen? Those teams are for sure going to overpay for guys because they've got to spend the money. So you're going to get a mediocre player who's going to get star contracts from those handful of teams that have to fork over the dough.
And I think one of those teams was the Jets, right?
Yes.
And they end up bringing in Minka Fitzpatrick and paying him, so that at least takes care of some of that.
Yeah, we also have our first big deal of the negotiating period.
Oh, what do we got?
The Colts, which I don't know why they waited until the negotiating period started.
Alec Pierce?
They agreed to terms with their own free agent, Alec Pierce. Reportedly, 4 years, $114 million.
I thought it would be between 27 and 30. So that comes out. What was that? 114? You said
114. Yeah.
So that'd be
8.
No, less than that. That's about 24. Actually, yeah, that's actually less than I thought it was going to be.
No, it's a 4-year deal.
4 year. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. So that would be around 29. That's 29. I'm sorry, 29. Yeah, 28 and a half, 29. That's where we thought it was going to be. The Colts managed to keep it under 30, but for a guy that's basically had 1 year, where he had a big year, 1,000 yards. Now, it was, Paul, you would appreciate this. He was like a 70s wide receiver last year.
Yeah.
Where he had 1,000 yards, but he had like 58 catches. And it was like watching Lynn Swan's stats.
Yeah, this is going to be the first time over the course of the next week that a lot of us are going to shake our heads and say, how in the world did that guy get that number? But that's what's going to happen. These guys, there's going to be a bunch of them overpaid, and we're going to keep shaking our heads.
Now,
stop.
Very different type of wide receiver, but I'm sure Wando Robinson's camp is like, that's a nice contract.
I thought that was going to be the first reported deal of the negotiating period, just based on all the buzz we've heard about him being linked to the Tennessee Titans and Brian Dable.
There was a lot of noise about that over the weekend.
I was thinking 12:01 p.m. that would come out that he agreed to terms with them, but it's not happened yet, at least.
Yeah, Mike Garafolo kind of teased earlier today, too, that he would expect the Mike Evans decision to be made quickly. Usually when guys say that, that means that conversations have already maybe taken place at the NFL Combine. I mean, maybe. I mean, I know that would be against the rules, but whatever.
There's something else that actually came out right before we came on.
Yes. What else? Whip it at me. What do you got?
I'm not sure if it was Rappaport or Tom Pelissero, but one of them put out that the 49ers might be open to trading Trent Williams since they are unable to come to terms on a long-term deal. He would
38 years old.
38 years old, but if he were a free agent, he would be the best free agent tackle available. Just, I don't think anyone's going to be rushing to sign him to a 4 or 5 year deal, which my guess is he's probably looking for multi-years because he has, I think, 1 year left on his deal.
And he's
clearly not happy with it.
And historically, he has not been someone that's been easy to deal with when it comes to contract negotiations.
No.
That's how he wound up with the 49ers to begin with.
And he's due to make like $33 million this year.
Yeah, I think his cap number is like 38, right, or something crazy like that.
A year or two added to that. So it sounds like they're at least going to consider moving him, which would at least take one potential free team in free agency off the table of signing a tackle. The Giants are obviously in that boat right now because Jermaine Illuminor is officially a free agent.
He is.
Although I would not expect a trade to be done for Trent Williams, who's a left tackle.
Yes.
But it could take another team off of the board who might be willing to spend big money on a tackle. So
another big move. Alameda Zacchaeus back to the Falcons on a free agent deal. So we're going to see this stuff kind of float through. Citak has his, like, I'll call it your Twitter control room.
That's basically what TweetDeck is.
Yes.
I don't have to touch anything. It just updates, refreshes automatically anytime.
I need to get that.
Someone tweets something, I have it separated into different lists and categories. I'm all prepared.
No, it's very well done. We have NFL Network on here as well, so we'll keep an eye on that.
And you notice my Mets column right after all the NFL ones? Little Mets column.
Why would you even bother?
Where's your Nets?
Paul.
Where's your Nets column?
Oh, it's far down. It got moved down.
Oh, really? It got demoted? It got demoted off the main screen. Any other moves before we get to the Giants that you guys want to hit on before we get there?
The money that the Rams gave McDuffie yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good one.
$124 million for 4 years.
Highest paid corner, over $30 million a year, 31.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, more than Stingley, more than Sauce.
He's a really good player. I wouldn't deny that. He's a top shelf guy in the league, but 30 mil? My goodness, John, where are we going here?
Up. It goes up. That's where we're going.
You're not kidding.
Hey, Paul, look, here, guys, and this is me not even trying to be funny. When the cap raises and goes up 8% every year, guess what contracts are going to do? They're going to go up 10% every year. That's just kind of how that goes. And I haven't looked at the structure of that contract, but knowing how the Rams operate, my guess is that it's going to be extremely backloaded as they try to win with Matthew Stafford over the next year or two, depending on how much longer he wants to play. And
hilarious.
I don't blame it, by the way. I would do the same thing if I were the Rams. You got a small window here. Try to take advantage of it.
Same. I was just going to say, it's hilarious though that they just do not give you-know-what about their first-round picks.
No, they do not.
I've not seen a team do this in the NFL. It's been a decade. I think they've had one first-round pick in a decade.
No, thanks to the Falcons, they have another first-round pick.
Yeah, that is true.
In the top 15? 10?
I think it's 14.
14? Yeah, that sounds right. It's somewhere in the top 15, top 10. All right, so let's get to the Giants here, guys. The more I've thought about this, right? Over the weekend, I was sitting around. This has nothing to do with what some of the reports are. That's just me thinking about how John Harbaugh operates and the way he talked at the Combine, where he seemed to really, and I go, this is old school thought process, but he seems to be an adherent to it. Stop the run the football, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the Giants have two holes right now, and they're very close to the line of scrimmage, and both are, I'm not going to say required to be good, but they better be good if you want to be good at those two things. And that's inside linebacker and guard. If you want to be a power running team, you have to have guards that can run block. If you want to stop the run well, you have to have inside linebackers and off-ball linebackers that can plug and stop the run.
You're singing my song.
So, as much as we're talking about who the Giants have on the roster that are free agents, we spent a lot of last week talking about that with Wanda Robinson or Jermaine Illuminor, Cordell Flott. I would really not be surprised if, and given how we operated in Baltimore, especially with the linebacker position, if off-ball linebacker and guard might be two of the real points of emphasis here for the Giants, Paul, early in free agency.
Look, I think they have to be points of emphasis in the offseason. Whether or not they're free agency deals or they're draft deals, I don't know. I really don't know. Because, we don't know what John Harbaugh thinks about the players who are available. Which it comes back to that every single time.
Well, you need someone to start at guard for you. And right now the Giants do not have anybody on the roster that has started at guard.
No.
At right guard.
They don't.
So you have to have somebody to fill that spot.
Yeah, your right guard and right tackle are both free agents now. So you gotta and
at least you can argue that maybe you feel good about Marcus Ball at right tackle, but I mean, who's that guy at guard?
Yeah, right now there's not really any proven commodity out there that are on the roster that could step in day one and fill that role. So
which is why the Okereke release surprised me so much at middle linebacker, because they've now got themselves a gaping hole at middle linebacker that has to be addressed, and you would think it has to be addressed before the draft.
I think it's going to be addressed in both.
Okay.
I think so too.
It can be.
One,
but
maybe two guys in free agency and another young guy drafted next month.
You can't go into the draft starving, though, to pick up two guys.
No, of course not.
You got to
get
at least one.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And look, again, John Harbaugh and his staff, they know what they thought of Okereke's last 2 years of tape. And I understand that it was only until the last 4 or 5 weeks of last season that Okereke's tape looked like the guy that you would want to have. It was poor for most of the time under Shane Bowen. I get that. I think it's a little risky for me. But, if they've made that evaluation, that's their job to do.
Well, and
now they've got to go fix it.
I think it might have to do with style, Paul, as much as anything else. Because, Cody Alexander, his huddle is going up. We do like a deep dive into Nardar Wilson. And he said, look, basically for a Wilson defense, which is kind of like a Fangio type of defense, right? You need, because remember, he was under Mike McDonald. He runs the Fangio system. They're all connected. Mm-hmm. You need one linebacker, and especially if you want to play light boxes and play nickel a lot, which is what these defenses want to do now, right? Your guys in the box have to be able to stop the run. So you need tackles that can do it. Leonard Williams, Murphy in Seattle, just as an example. And then they brought in, Ernest Jones to be their middle linebacker to stop the run. You need one plugger. You need one guy that can cover. And my guess is that Harbaugh wants this guy in the middle to be a plugger. Bobby Okereke is many things. Good player. Like him. Great dude. Good range. Could run. Covered well last year. He's not a plugger.
His first year with the Giants, though, he did play a lot of downhill.
Yeah, but he's not taking on blockers, though.
No, he's not like that.
No.
He's not a sturdy, stout kind of guy. But he did do a really good job of filling rushing lanes by charging downhill against the run by anticipation.
Right.
Now, that's a different way to do it, but you're correct. He is not physically a plugger. He's not a sturdy, solid interior guy who's going to be overly physical.
Which is why I think it's a style thing. Because we talked about the cost, right? Yeah. Based on the dead money that's left, what he was making, the odds of you're finding a linebacker are much better than him for much less money is probably small. It's just going to be tough to do that with the way the money adds up. But you might find someone that more stylistically meets what you're looking for at the position.
Yeah, for sure. And, Bobby was set to make a decent amount of money. Not the biggest cap hit in the world, but a pretty sizable cap hit. You could potentially add 2 linebackers for that same exact cost. Maybe, the one big guy, or big quote unquote, making a little bit less than what Bobby was going to make, and then maybe somewhat a veteran closer to the minimum, but 2 bodies nonetheless that you could then add to that room, which right now is pretty barren, and then you add in another guy in the draft, a young guy, maybe early in the draft. All of a sudden, you're looking at a completely revamped linebacker room that could have the potential to be significantly better than what we've seen the last couple of years.
If McFadden doesn't re-sign, you have to net 3, not just 2, 3 between
free agency and the draft.
Yeah.
Right now, you have Darius Musow. He's the only, somewhat proven linebacker on the roster.
Well, he's got
as of right now.
NFL snaps, yes, but I mean,
Chris Board as well, but he obviously was
More of a special teamer.
more of a special team
Hewitt,
guy.
same thing.
That was very count from Sesame Street. They need three linebackers.
Three inside linebackers, two inside linebackers.
You don't even try to do it, but that was very countish from
One
Sesame Street.
inside linebacker.
Draymond Jones to the Patriots.
There's another deal that this one.
I'm going to get to that in a second. I just want to get the numbers on Draymond Jones. I had it in front of me for a second.
39.
3 years, 39. Thank you. And then the one that could affect the Cordell Flop market, which is all I'm sure you're interested in. Eric Stokes to the Raiders, 3-year, $30 million deal, $20 million guaranteed.
That's not overly expensive.
Yeah, but I think
For him.
Flott's probably a little bit better than Stokes.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think Fly is going to
think so,
get
too. He's gonna get about
a deal
And this
somewhat
is,
sizably larger than that.
And this is
based on the reported numbers.
And this is Stokes' third contract, correct? He's not coming off his rookie deal, I don't believe, right? Eric Stokes? I think he's closer to 30, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't.
No,
28 or
I
29?
think this is his
Is it?
off
I
his
don't
rookie
recall.
deal, I believe.
But
I
I
feel
mean,
like he's
listen,
No, he signed a 1-year deal last year.
All right, so 27. I was 1 year off.
you guys know I'm
Yep.
president of the Flott fan club.
Yep.
Have since he came out of LSU. But here's what we got to remember, folks. While I do believe he played very well last year and certainly is looking for some cash, there's no question, he does have an injury history. He's been unable to finish seasons, which is going to deflate his number a little bit.
So the Paul
A little
strategy
bit.
here to all the other teams, this is why you should not pay Cordell
That's
Flott.
right. Do
He
not.
stinks.
Do not
But as
pay
soon as the
Cordell
Giants
Flott.
sign him, oh, what a signing! This thing was fantastic.
I will do everything I can to get him back in this building. I will tell you, he doesn't like food anywhere else in the country except in New York. You don't want to sign him.
So anyway, going back to my original theory. So that's why I think guard and inside linebacker could be a focus here. I still can't figure out how this works if Illuminor is not back, because I just don't know where you go if you don't sign him. Unless, again, maybe they think that they can just plug Marcus Bowen and go. That to me, that's the message. If we see the Jermaine Illuminor sign name fly up on the screen here, and he ends up going somewhere else, my initial reaction, Matt, until I am proven otherwise, will be that means they believe in Marcus Bowen. Because I just don't see a ton of other offensive tackles in the market that you can kind of bring in to do what Illuminor has done for you the last couple of years.
Yeah, it could be a combination of that, and also, maybe they want to give Bo a chance while bringing in a veteran to compete with him and have those two guys, go at it over the next 4 or 5 months to see who earns the starting right tackle spot. Because you're right, there isn't another right tackle free agent available that, I would say is better than Jermaine Illuminor. At least not a lot better. There are guys that I would say obviously are lower and not as good as him that you could sign for less money probably than what Illuminor is going to get.
Sure.
And have that guy compete with Marcus Bowe, with whoever loses that competition in training camp, then sort of serving as your swing tackle. I guess I could see, but you're right. There aren't any other right tackle options in free agency that jump off the page being like, this guy's, would be a great value signing or would be a great fit necessarily, at least in my opinion. There are some interesting tackles, but
yeah,
I think you know what you're getting in Jermaine Illuminor. You know what he's done the last 2 years here. He's comfortable here. He has shown he can compete here. We've seen over the years, the New York market's not for everyone. Not everyone can keep up with everything that goes on with playing for a New York team, but Jermaine Illuminor showed that he's more than capable of doing that the last 2 years.
No, absolutely right. And remember, and I'm going to quote Paul here, you don't need 2 offensive tackles. You need 3 offensive tackles, especially with Andrew Thomas's injury history.
For sure.
You have to have somebody that you're confident in to slide in there at both spots, right? If you're counting on Marcus Bowe to be a right tackle, you need someone that's comfortable to come in and play left tackle, or to your point, if you want a veteran backstop, right tackle too. Find me that guy. Like those, it's not easy to find that guy. Giants tried to find that guy last year. It didn't go too well.
No, that guy's already been released.
Exactly right. So that's kind of where we are. Paul, what do you think? I told you my priority rate. What do you think the first thing is we're going to see pop up for the Giants? Not necessarily a player, but maybe what position they're going to try to focus in on getting filled here.
I think they try to get that corner spot full. The corner spot is very risky right now. and that's a really, really dangerous area. If Flat walks out of this building and you've got Tay Banks coming off of 2 very puzzling seasons, that is a serious, serious issue. I've talked to you about Awuzie, who was a guy who I think at a decent price. Asante Samuel was another guy.
He signed over the weekend. He re-signed with the Steelers.
I didn't catch that.
This
morning. Sorry.
Did not catch that. That would have been another guy I would have talked to. I'll tell you, in terms of your Illuminor situation, if Illuminor walks out the door and they're going to will that position to Bo, I'm telling you right now, I would not be at all adverse, and I don't like doing this because I'd like to go a little younger, but I would not be adverse to calling up Kevin Zeitler. He's been here before. He's a mauler. He's strong. He's powerful. He's a very intense kind of player. He loves football. Heck, we were in the lunchroom when he used to be here with the Giants. He'd be going through pass sets on his way to the lunchroom.
And he was with Harbaugh in Baltimore.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
For a couple years, too.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I would not at all be adverse to signing Zeitler for a 1-year patch, and maybe he becomes the right guard for a season.
How about you? What do you think the first position that the Giants, and again, it could be that they're prioritizing a different position and not the one they signed first. It just happens that guy agrees to the contract first, so there's really no way to tell. But what do you think their focus is going to be here, Matt, early on?
I mean, I do think there is a decent chance that one of the first things we see is that, the Giants have agreed to terms with one of their own free agents, which obviously the 2 big names would be Jermaine Illuminor and Cordell Flott. I think it's definitely possible. I do think they're both looking for, big deals, and I don't think they're necessarily going to give the Giants that hometown discount.
And that's the problem. A lot of times those guys, and Illuminor is really closer to the top than the middle of what the market is here, but a lot of times those guys want to wait to see if a team gets desperate to give them more money, right? So they're not going to want to sign what the Giants might think is a market rate contract early in free agency. You're going to want to see what happens when the guys at the top of the list, and again, Illuminor is pretty close to the top of the list, go off the board first, and then kind of see what's left,
Yeah, but outside of those 2 Giants' own pending free agents, I think it's going to be a guard, because right now there's a right guard is a need. There's not a whole lot of depth behind him as well. I mean, John Running's the only starting caliber guard on the roster right now. So, and that seems to be, if you want to buy into a lot of the reports out there, the Giants have reportedly, have had their eyes on some various different free agent guards. So I would not be shocked at all if that is the first position we see. And I'm just seeing this is big breaking news.
What do you got?
The Chiefs are signing Kenneth Walker.
Not surprised.
Not surprised. That has been, I feel like, one of the worst kept secrets of the last couple of weeks of free agency, that they were going to go hard after Kenneth Walker, but that was a name that at least members of the media liked connecting to the Giants, so that is off the board. He is going to the Chiefs.
I will say, as someone that owns Kenneth Walker in a Dynasty Fantasy Football League, that is a good day for me.
Yeah, I would say so.
Also a Moore owner as well, who just went to be Josh Allen's #1 wide receiver in Buffalo. So it's been a good free agent period for that particular fantasy team. But look, I think that's interesting because Walker's not much of a weapon in the passing game. We know Andy Reid likes to use his running backs in the passing game, so I'm curious to see how that fit kind of works out there.
Just a really, really terrific player, though, who can make big plays from anywhere on the field, John.
Oh, I love Walker. I've always liked him. You know that.
Yeah, I know. And I think that, to me, that's what they're more concerned about. The fact that, he can take it to the house from anywhere. He is a touchdown machine. He can break it at any point. And when you're looking at that potential big play, I mean, we would talk about that when Barkley was here for years, right? The guy can, from anywhere on the field, he can break it and go long. I think that's what they wanted, a home run hitter, so to speak, in the backfield.
I think it's a perfect match, honestly.
Yeah.
They needed to obviously do something in the run game, what they've been trotting out there the last couple seasons. Wasn't really getting it done. I don't think you could say that the run game was the reason the Chiefs, obviously not last year, but even the years before that, why the run game was why the Chiefs were having success. Clearly, Patrick Mahomes in the passing game. So now they went out and signed the top running back free agent available, and just adding another playmaker. This is in addition to a little bit earlier that the report that the Chiefs are expected to re-sign Travis Kelce as well. So if you kind of run back the offense, but now you have Kenneth Walker, and I'm sure there's going to be some moves made on the O-line in Kansas City as well.
There have to be.
Jawan Taylor is a free agent, and he was obviously one of their starting tackles, although he didn't play the greatest. But nonetheless, other than O-line, I feel like their offense is pretty much kind of set now. Maybe another wide receiver as well.
You mentioned Taylor. That would be the other right tackle option that you could talk about in free agency. Braden Smith's another one. I mean, both those guys have been solid starting right tackles for quite a while.
Yeah, but Taylor just seemed to have trouble last year with the, I guess, if you want to call it the rule change.
Lining up. You get trouble lining up
and starting, a split second too early. Like, how many times did he get called for a false start last year?
Up a lot.
A lot. I only got to watch a handful of games, and I feel like I saw at least 5-6 of those penalties called on him.
No, absolutely right.
So.
It's something you got to deal with. I get that. I don't necessarily disagree. Okay, folks, we're going to 2 o'clock today. We're going to take your calls at 201-939-4513 as we talk free agency with you. Anything else you guys want to hit on before we get to the calls?
The Schefter report of this morning. Chris Manhertz.
Oh, that's right. There is a report indicating that the Giants, again, pending a physical, the Giants have agreed to terms with, according to reports. Tight end Chris Manhertz, so the blocking tight end back in the building.
Getting all the buzzwords in there.
You have to. Do you want Dave Dominic coming through this door like the Kool-Aid Man? Pulling me off the air?
I got an idea. Why don't we somehow figure out a way to make a jingle out of it so you could just sing it every 10 minutes?
We'll leave the singing to you, Paul.
Okay.
We'll leave the singing to you. I think that's a very, very good point. All right. I think you can't go wrong bringing back a good blocking tight end. John Harbaugh values blocking tight ends.
Exactly.
I think that makes sense. I'm going to throw 3 sleeper guys out real quick because they're former Ravens. Maybe 2, but I don't consider Patrick Ricard a sleeper. Ardarius Washington.
Okay.
He was coming off a serious leg injury. Mm-hmm. He was a lot of success in that Harbaugh defense in Baltimore. If you can get him on the cheap as a depth safety, wouldn't be surprised if they go there.
Okay.
And I know we're keeping an eye on Daniel Bellinger. Keep an eye on Charlie Kohler, who is a blocking tight end from Baltimore. Maybe they would want him. I mean, does the Manhertz thing preclude that then? I don't know. But maybe they like him as the 2 and Manhertz as the 3. That's something I think we could keep an eye on. Just in terms of lesser spoken about Ravens players that I think maybe you could think about.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I thought that the Charlie Kohler move was something that there was a decent chance of happening, but that was before this Manhertz news. Manhertz is, as we've talked about, is a phenomenal blocker. You have him, you have Theo Johnson, Thomas Fidone is still on the roster. Obviously, he didn't do a whole lot last year, but he's still part of that depth chart. If you're going to add one more tight end, is it going to be one of those big kind of block first tight ends, or are you going to get one that is more of like a pass catcher option, a different former Raven that's a free agent, someone in the mold of an Isaiah Likely type? Obviously, that is going to cost you a lot more than Charlie Kohler, but in terms of the style of tight end you want to add to the fold, given
or do they
the guys you already have,
do they see Theo Johnson as that type of receiver? Is Theo Johnson the receiving threat?
Is that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know how John Harbaugh views Theo Johnson, right?
No, that's
or Fidone for that matter.
Right. I don't know. I don't know if his presence would necessarily preclude you from adding somebody on a big money deal, though.
No, but if you're going to stick with, we don't know what Bellinger's situation is. I mean, it's 12 o'clock. It's past 12 o'clock, so he's technically an unrestricted free agent right now.
Yes,
we have no information about him coming back or not. I've said on our show, I'm all for bringing all 4 tight ends back. I think that's the best plan for the Giants. That's what I would do if it were me.
Yeah, and this could be a keep 4 tight ends on the roster, too, if Harbaugh's going to be a really heavy tight end team, too.
Sure. I kind of, as of right now, Monday, March 9th, I kind of expect that to be the case.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And so, if they think, and we talked about this too on a previous show, John, if they know about Fidone, I'm sure they do, if they like him, well then there's your 4. Just re-sign the guys that are unrestricted, keep those 4 and just plow ahead. If they don't re-sign Bellinger, or if they don't think a lot of Fidone, then I'm with Matt about, well, then maybe you do have to go outside and get another pass-catching tight end. But again, we just don't know enough about Harbaugh and his staff. That's the problem.
Yeah, we just don't know. Again, same way I talk about styles with the inside linebacker.
Yeah,
like what's the style you want with the tight end, right? And what combination of them do you want?
Yeah, because the 2 assistants, Nagy and
Roman, Callahan,
and 3 assistants and Callahan. They have contrasting feelings based on what we've seen in the past. So how are they going to mesh that together?
All right. 201-939-4513, 201-939-4513. Danny in North Carolina joins us first on the show. You're leading us off, Danny. What do you got?
Hey, how you doing? I'm from North Carolina, and I'm originally from New York, but my question is, we need some weapons for offense with Dart. And I wanted to know if Odell Beckham is going to sign and retire with us. I would love that, to see that with Odell Beckham.
He isn't going to play if he, or play to the point where he's actually going to help as a weapon. If you want to do it as a feel good story, fine. But I mean, he's not going to be your answer, Danny, at wide receiver if you're looking for someone to really help you.
Maybe sign him to a one-day contract.
Yeah, I would like to see him, and I would like to see him to retire with the Giants because, the Giants did draft him, and I think that would be an awesome duo with Dart. I love Dart.
All right, Danny. Appreciate the call, man.
If you're signing him to retire, though.
No, he's not, though. He wants to play him.
He wants to play him.
Yeah.
Well, that's
look. Last time we saw him on the field was
feasible.
in 2024, where he only played 9 games, had 9 catches. And he didn't play at all last year. He's had several major knee injuries. Like, as much as I love Odell, if you were telling me we would be signing up for Odell from a decade ago, then obviously sign me up for that. But
yeah,
the Odell we've seen the last couple of years, and we haven't. By the time training camp starts, it'll be near like 2 years since he last took the field. I feel like that is kind of more of like a feel-good on paper story than an actual helping this team win in 2026 reality.
If he signed a one-day contract, would he figure out a way in that day to say something to get on the back page of the paper before he had his retirement press conference?
Oh, boy.
No.
Probably. No, he probably would. He probably would. He's quite the character.
No, but that was just a joke. It seems like he has matured a lot in recent years, and he's a much more mature guy than he used to be. That was just a joke, guys. Don't get all mad at me.
We got another. Sorry.
Oh, what do you got? No, please.
Tight end.
Matt, as soon as you see stuff, don't be afraid to interrupt me. Throw it at me.
Tight end off the board.
Why he's here.
Another tight end off the board. Cade Otton is returning to Tampa Bay.
Did they have the money on that yet?
Not yet.
I have not seen the money on Walker yet either. Have you?
I have not seen money on Walker yet.
I haven't. I wonder if Walker got past $15 million.
Walker himself already tweeted a photo or a graphic of him in a Chiefs jersey.
So I think that's going to happen then.
Yeah,
I think the Cade Otton contract is going to be bigger than people think because he's one of these very valuable two-way tight ends. Now he's an excellent blocker. We liked him coming out. We talked about him a lot, Paul, in the draft that year when Cade Otton got drafted, and he's someone that can block. He's not a dynamic receiver, but can catch the football. And in the way these teams now want to use tight ends as multi-purpose weapons, he's going to be, I think, very valuable for a team that, I think the Bucs probably have to pay up pretty well to keep him.
100%. I mean, I've told you this earlier, but we have a photo gallery on Giants.com of just Greg Rosenthal's from NFL.com's top 101 free agents. Cade Otton was number 16.
Was he 16?
He was 16.
Wow.
He was very high up there. I believe he was either right in front of or right behind Isaiah Likely. And Likely, I guess just because he's more of the pass-catching tight end, has been getting so much more buzz and hype around his free agency. But Cade Otton was considered to be, sort of same level. He's, in fact, as you mentioned, a much better blocker than Isaiah Likely. So if you're looking for that two-way tight end,
I think
he probably is the top tight end or was the top tight end on the market.
If I had to guess, I think he will get a bigger contract than Isaiah Likely. Longer and more lucrative average annual value.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right,
you found
we got numbers. Kenneth Walker. Paul, give me a number. How many do you think for 3 years? What do you think you got? I'm going to play this game with all day. It's going to be great because he's going to be low on all of them. It's going to be fantastic.
No, I think he probably got 50.
Oh, no. Wow. You're low. 43. So 14 and change.
No kidding.
Like 14.3, give or take.
Well, what
and it can be up to $45 million with
45.
incentives. So I'll get you up to 15, 28.7 guaranteed.
Guaranteed money is nice.
That is a nice guaranteed money. So basically, he's there for at least 2 years. He's not going anywhere.
Look, obviously he's coming off a phenomenal season and a phenomenal postseason, but let's not forget this guy has had injuries every single season.
Yes, he has
since he's been in the NFL.
That's true.
We see guys in contract years play out of their minds every single year. So that it doesn't surprise me that he didn't, totally break the bank or reset the running back market, anything like that.
That is in line with the top of the market. Yes. 100%. Yeah, this wasn't going to be a resetting of the market like we're probably going to end up seeing with Tyler Linderbaum whenever he signs. That's likely to reset the center market.
Yes.
This is not one of those deals necessarily. But good deal for Kenneth Walker. Good deal for the Chiefs as well as they try to augment a running game that really has struggled for quite a while. I mean, going back to Clyde Edwards-Helaire draft pick, that did not work out. Pacheco's been fine, but he's not a guy that you're going to...
that serious injury.
Yeah, that too.
Then even his aggressive run style wasn't quite as effective after that injury.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to think who their running back... Who is their running back?
Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. Yeah, that's right.
He was looking like he was going to be their next running back, and then he had the off-the-field issues,
That's right.
which led to him being released, and then obviously he rejoined them a couple years later. But, yeah, I'm sure they're hoping that Walker is now the answer to the running back hole that they've had, at least for the foreseeable future.
Now, as we start to see some of the bigger numbers that are going to come in for some of these guys, we should refer to the storyline earlier about some of these teams that have to spend to get to the minimum. The Raiders, Jets, Titans, Rams, Saints, Chargers, and Seahawks.
Well, I don't think the Rams need it anymore.
Well, not after the McDuffie deal.
You can take them off the list.
Obviously, that's one of the reasons why they spent what they just did, because they were on the list of teams that had to get to the minimum spend.
I would try to find an updated list here, Paul.
Let me see.
You're going off of Google AI. Be very careful with that.
Oh, you're right.
By the way, this Walker deal is, Tom Pelissero tweeting, the biggest free agent deal for a running back in NFL history.
Barkley's extension was for more, but it was an extension.
Original deal with the Eagles was less than that, and then the extension was a lot more. But the original deal, this is the highest for a running back free agent.
Yeah. So, like I said, right in line with the top of the market as you're looking for a running back. And Walker's not an old play either. I think he's only 25 or something like that. I think he came out relatively young when he came out this year. So, good signing for the Chiefs. Let's go to Ron in Pittsburgh.
Wait,
hold on. Ron, stand by.
The Rams just added another cornerback, Jalen Watson, formerly of the Chiefs.
That's not going to be cheap either.
No, they just completely revamped their starting corners.
And they have a very good young front that can get after the quarterback. So
that defense is going to be the best defense in the league next year.
And they also
remember
they did not lose their defensive coordinator. Shula did not go anywhere, so they're bringing him back too.
Jared Verse another year older, Fisk another year older. That's going to be scary.
Yeah.
Well, they had to spend, and obviously they are.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was worried about the Rams spending money, but they've always kind of gone on the cheap when it comes to corners and secondary guys. They've tried to figure that out. Not the case anymore. They are all in. You just hope that this isn't, they kind of caught a break with Stafford staying healthy last year at his advanced age, especially with the back injury heading into the year. Now it's just like, all right, we're going to just try to keep walking this tightrope. And Stafford seems like a good dude. He's a heck of a player. So hopefully he manages to stay healthy for them, except when they play the Giants. Just kidding. We hope Matthew Stafford stays very healthy. All right, now let's go to Ron in Pittsburgh. Ron, you're up next on Big Blue Kickoff Live's free agency special. And of course, again, all these signings, folks, are agreed to terms, pending a physical, according to reports. What do you got, Ron?
Hey, guys, I got 3 questions for you. You want them one at a time or all at once?
Let's go one at a time.
All right. First one is about the running back room and the tight ends room. So, Matt, you just said that you're expecting 4 tight ends on the roster. We know John Harbaugh loves a fullback, and they're also looking at running backs. Do you see 4 tight ends, 4 running backs, and a fullback? Because that seems like a lot of roster spots.
I would think my first instinct would be if there's a fullback on the roster, you probably don't have 4 tight ends, especially if 1 or 2 of them are basically purely blocking tight ends, because it's kind of filling the same role then. So if a fullback is added, then maybe we don't see that 4 tight ends.
I agree with that.
Maybe it's 3.
I agree with that.
It's got to be one or the other.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Okay. Question 2 is about linebackers. I joined the show a little late. I didn't hear anything about Micah McFadden. Is he healthy? Does he get to negotiate, or how does that work when you're coming off an injury as a free agent?
I don't know what his status is right now. He was working his way back towards the end of the year. In fact, they said they thought he might be able to make a return late in the year, too. He just never did.
Yeah, if the Giants were in the playoff hunt at the end of the season, I think there's at least a chance he would have pushed to play, but given where the season was going, there's no reason for him to rush back.
He is an unrestricted free agent like any other unrestricted free agent, so he can negotiate a contract, and I would not be surprised if the Giants would want to bring him back if it's cost effective.
I did see one report that he's actually garnering a decent amount of interest from other teams.
We should know, by the way, the Ravens did have 3 tight ends last year, but they also carried the fullback. So that was their 3 tight ends, and then Ricard. What's your third question, Ron?
The third question is about specialists. Do you think Casey Kreider signs his 7th one-year contract in a row, or given Harbaugh's, background in special teams, do you expect a complete overhaul? Because Gano is also a $4 and change $1 million cap hit, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, Ron. I mean, I think a good long snapper is a good long snapper. I don't know if the system really matters, and you're just snapping it and you're doing your thing. So I think it depends on. I think it's not his contract has less to do with overhauling the special teams and more to do with the fact the older these place kickers get, the higher their minimum salary gets, and the more they're going to get paid. And how much money do you want to allocate for a long snapper? That's a question that the Giants will have to answer. I don't know what their thoughts are. We'll see about field goal kicker, whether Gano's back or not. You're going to have somebody there that you trust, because certainly Gano has not shown the ability to stay healthy the last couple of years. So at the least, there should be a competition. I would not be surprised if they bring someone in that you feel good about starting right away. And then, Jimmy Gillen's still around. I think he did a pretty good year last year. And, I would expect him to be back, would be my guess.
These veterans who do these one-year, basically minimum deals and keep coming back and do it on a regular basis. And I'm not 100% sure about the timing of Kreider's deals the last several springs, but as I recall, see what often teams will do with a player of that nature, they'll talk to him, they'll have a deal in place, they'll shake his hand, he says, yeah, you know what, when the timing is right and you have all your other things cleaned up and you took care of all of your other things, that's when we'll do our deal. In other words, the player will do the team a favor by saying, you don't have to worry about me, I'm coming back, we've agreed to the deal, take care of me later on after you get all the other stuff cleaned off your plate. That happens very often in this league, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's what's happening with Kreider.
Okay, that's good to know. What do you think about drafting a kicker? Having a rookie kicker?
I would not.
Be the No?
Yeah, Ron, I'm with Ron. I'm with Matt here. I am anti-rookie kicker.
I just think, obviously the quality of kicker you can find varies depending on the assets you put towards them, but we see veteran kickers sign off the street in the middle of the season and then go on to have phenomenal, second halves of the season.
And we've seen highly drafted kickers flame out very quickly.
Yeah, I feel like every time a kicker gets drafted at least high, that guy never makes it through his rookie deal with that team.
I mean, Jake Moody's on his third or fourth team now?
And then the guy from FSU.
Aguano, right?
Yeah, he didn't make it.
Is that his name, Aguano? Does that sound
right?
Aguilar? I thought it was. I forget his name. I remember who you're talking
about.
It's not Louis Aguilar. I can promise you that.
No, it wasn't Louis Aguilar.
I got to jump in because in the last 120 seconds, we had three big things happen.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate the call.
Thank you, Ron. First,
don't give money.
The Carolina Panthers agreed to a deal with Jalen Phillips, the former Eagles edge rusher, a 4-year deal.
Paul, guess how much money?
14 a year.
120.
14 a year.
14 a year. What are you?
Not even close.
Paul, come on. They doubled it.
4 years, $120 million.
That's ridiculous. Well, there you go.
And I think it was $80 million guaranteed.
Oh, my gosh.
Then we have Laramie Tunsil signing a 2-year extension with the Commanders.
That's got to be close to 30.
2 years, 60 and change million.
That's not a surprise.
And then a trade, which I was going to mention this when we were talking about Alec Pierce before.
Pittman.
I thought I saw before that if they re-signed Pierce, Pittman could then be expendable.
Yeah.
Pittman has been traded to the Steelers. Michael Pittman, wide receiver.
And I actually like the Pittman-Metcalf combination. They're both big, but Pittman is really good in the middle of the field on the crossers, and Metcalf's more of your perimeter deep threat. I actually think that's a pretty decent combination of players.
Apparently, it only cost them a late-round pick swap.
It's like
because he has a pretty big contract.
It's the Rashawn Gary deal.
Yeah.
For receivers.
Yeah.
Except that's even less for a pick swap. But you know why? His cap number, I think, is 29 this year or something like that. Gary's was around 18.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers extend him. I'm not sure how many years he has left on his deal. I think it's only 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But extend him at the very least just to lower that cap.
Oh, there was another deal today that was a late round pick swap just so a team can get off a contract. I'm trying to remember what player it was. I'll look it up. I'll find it. But yeah, look, that's what happens sometimes. The teams don't want to cut these players and get nothing for them. So if you can, squeeze that out, you can certainly do that. So
let's make something clear here about
Steelers need a wide receiver, by the way.
No. I want to go back to the previous
player. Very
player.
upset.
Jalen Phillips.
You should be happy he's on the Eagles anymore. You should be thrilled.
5 sacks last year. His career high is 7. You're giving him $30 million a year? Is that what I heard?
On that Greg Rosenthal 101 free agent list, he was number 2 on the entire list.
Now, remember, that's probably max value of the contract with incentives and everything. I wonder what the base value is. A lot of times those come in much lower. So maybe it's like 3 years, 100, which I'm sure doesn't make Paul feel any better about it. But
I thought I saw in one of these tweets the guaranteed portion, which was like...
It was 80. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay,
It was 80.
Let me make something very clear then. For all you folks out there who wanted to trade Kayvon Thibodeau, he's a $14 million player for this season. That is a bargain based on what the market is right now. Are you kidding me? Wow.
But he was the
Let's
top.
move on.
He was the top edge rusher on the free agent market.
And what is he? 27, 28?
Some people's thoughts. Obviously, I personally love Trey Hendrickson. That would have been, if I was going to give any free agent edge rusher big money. I think it probably would have been Hendrickson.
Do you know how happy he is right now seeing that contract?
He's going to get more than that.
I mean, I would pay him more than that for sure. Absolutely. I'm just looking for the age on Jalen Phillips.
Odafe Owe is another free agent edge rusher. Another guy is up there, is considered one of the top free agents at the position this offseason. So
Phillips 26, by the way.
Okay, so yeah, those are Owe. Another guy probably very happy to see the details of that.
Yeah, I mean, if Owe's sitting there seeing him at 30, he's going to ask for 25, right? Yeah. Owe's probably, you could argue, has had a better career than Phillips has so far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to argue that. I mean, I don't think that's even a reach, to be honest with you.
No, it's not.
All right, let's stay in the state of Pennsylvania and say what's up to Al. Al, what's going on, pal?
How you doing, guys?
We're good.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 things I'm a little worried about. One is I wanted your opinion on our running back room. We really don't have a home run hitter. Do you feel we have enough to get the job done with what we have?
I like the running back room. I'm a big Tyrone Tracy fan. I think you combine him with Scatabo. Is it an elite room where you're, one of the best running back rooms in the league? Probably not. But I think given the needs the Giants have elsewhere, if you walk into this year with a good offensive line, you add a weapon for Dart, and you have this running back room, I think you will be more than productive enough in the run and the pass game at that position where you're going to be fine. At least that's my opinion.
And look, we spoke about this last week.
What I'm always looking at is years ago with the Giants, they always had that David Mega type back,
Yeah, well, look, they still might add a running back this offseason, whether it's free agency or the draft. I know last week there was the reported news of Devin Singletary's restructured deal, but as I said on the show with Paul last week, that doesn't 100% guarantee that Devin Singletary will be on the team next year. They just reworked his contract apparently where the number, like his guaranteed, I think is basically where the money he had guaranteed on his deal is basically what the reported number is of where he got restructured to. So it's not guaranteed that he's there. So they still could add, that sort of home run hitter type running back to the room. And sorry, I'm seeing Malik Willis off the board.
Where
Miami Dolphins.
Wow, how'd they find the money for that?
3 years, $67.5 million.
That's more reasonable. That's in the Justin Fields category of quarterback contracts. People were telling us at the combine, when we talked to people at the combine, they could get up towards $30 million. That always seemed insane to me.
I thought so too.
I didn't get that. This is the Justin Fields contract with 1 more year and a little bit of inflation based on the cap going up. That is very reasonable to me, and I think it makes sense.
To the running back point that you made, John, the Giants' running back room, as it stands now, if that's the way they go in, that's fine. It does what Harbaugh needs them to do, which is to the point. You have to gear your room towards the functionality that they're going to have within the offense. And between Tracy, between Scatabo, and then Singletary as the reliable veteran, who, by the way, does a great job picking up the blitz. And if you need him to get in there and he's got to carry the ball 5 times, 10 times a game for a couple of weeks because somebody's hurt, he can handle that too. He's reliable. He's a great locker room guy. There's no reason. The whole rumors about, remember a couple of weeks ago we saw rumors that Walker was going to be, the Giants are going to make a surprise big splash. They're going to go after Walker. Who in their right mind would write that? It made absolutely zero sense.
Well, I think it depends on what the price is, right?
You saw what the price turned out to be.
I know, but maybe they would have been interested at a lower price. We don't know the answer to that.
I don't know that he would have come down that far.
I understand. Al, do you have anything else for us? I'm sorry, buddy. We hijacked your call. What's going on?
That's okay. I understand. The other thing I was wondering about, too, is Malik is coming back from an injury, which, you never know at wide receiver how he's going to react to that and how strong he's going to come back. If we lose Wandell to free agency, who, in my opinion, had good chemistry with Dart, now you're looking at a wide receiver coming back from an injury, which you don't know how he's going to react to that injury. You're losing Wandell, and all of a sudden, our wide receiver room looks terrible.
Yeah, which is why we've talked about if Wandell Robinson does not return, you have to add somebody to that room, whether it's a significant free agent signing. We can also then revisit Carnell Tate with the 5th overall pick in the draft. He's like my number 7 player on my board. So I think those are the options you're looking for. But, no, if you lose Wandell, do you sign some journeyman and then use like a day 2 or day 3 pick on a wide receiver and feel good about where you are? Probably not. Now, Al, in fairness, the Giants know they know where Malik Neighbors is now. Nobody knows what he's going to look like in a few months when they're trying to get back in the summer. But they might have a better feel for how ready he's going to be than we do, to be honest with you. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that and see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got a Jordan Schultz report here. I'm going to read this off your screen if that's okay, Mr. Citak.
Go for it.
All right, so Jordan Schultz, again, according to reports, pending a physical, the Giants have agreed to terms with Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely on a 3-year, $40 million contract with an upside of $47.5 per multiple sources. This deal makes Likely the 3rd highest paid tight end in the NFL and pairs him with Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors, a dangerous offense in NYC. That's me literally reading the Jordan Schultz tweet. Well, none of us had tight end on our bingo card for the first move the Giants were going to make. Shows what we know. And I didn't see anybody else with reports to that extent either out there. But look, if you're going to be a 2 tight end offense, and I think now we know what we think of Theo Johnson, they see him as a good enough blocker where you can have an F tight end play with him. Mm-hmm. That tells us, again, we're going to learn information about what this coaching staff thinks of the Giant players as we go here. Isaiah Likely, look, he is a guy that we talked about extensively during the draft process. We liked him a lot. He's very athletic. He's a good receiver. He's a smaller spread tight end. And our caller, Al, and by the way, we do have open lines at 201-939-4513. Our caller, Al, just asked about bringing in wide receiver weapons. Maybe the calculation was here, Paul, that the wide receiver market's going to be so high, go spend less for a really athletic playmaking tight end, and that can fill your need for playmaker on offense without spending big on a wide receiver.
We discussed this actually even last year, if you remember, during the offseason, that the Giants were going to have to do more in the passing game. And if you didn't think that you could go get someone who was going to be a significant help in the wide receiver room, maybe you're going to have to use the tight end spot to be that guy. Well, guess what? It looks like they just put that plan off for a year, because it would appear that if this report has legs to it, that Likely is going to be that guy who's going to be a significant part of the passing game. And I would say this, if this report, again, does turn out to be true, because we are always got a hedge on these things, I don't see any room for Daniel Bellinger. If the Manhurts report is true and that he is coming back, that doesn't leave any room. In my mind, it just I don't see how he would be able to make it back.
Yeah, I think that'd be tough. To be honest with you, I'm with you, Paul. I think you're right about that. By the way, the Steelers are giving Michael Pittman a 3-year, $59 million extension that likely to bring that cap number down this year to make it much more reasonable, which makes sense. He's a young player. You can do that, and you can feel pretty good about it. So I think that makes sense to me. I think it's interesting that this probably does tell you something about what they think about the wide receiver spot. But look, we knew Harbaugh would want to play with multiple tight ends a lot. Now, again, does this tell us more about what the offense is going to look like too, right, Paul? Where Matt Nagy comes from a Chiefs system where they're doing 3 tight ends, where they do 3 wide receivers, pardon me. You spread the field out. If you're going to have Theo Johnson and you're going to pay likely this type of money, again, according to reports, does that tell you what the offense is going to look like in terms of structure? I think that's interesting too.
Yeah, it is. And it does also kind of, not necessarily, because, again, we don't know what he thinks of Fedoni, but if he likes him, well, then there's your 4 tight ends, and I don't think they're signing a running back. A fullback. I mean, not a running back. I mean a fullback.
Again, there's no guarantee Fedoni's on the roster, Paul. He was a 6th or 7th round pick last year.
I just said,
right.
Depending what he thinks of him.
Right.
Depending what he thinks of him. That's still to be determined. But that's something we're going to have to keep watching. Because obviously the Ricard situation is of interest to a lot of people.
Money came down on the Jalen Watson deal. It came down as 3 years, 51. It just popped off the screen there. But, yeah, I believe it's a 3-year, $51 million contract for Watson. So that's 17 per. Another cornerback number out there with Flott, a pending free agent for the Giants. Again, that is according to reports. So, so you got the big first Giants move here. Give us a call. Let us know what you think at 201-939-4513. If you're just joining us, according to reports pending a physical, the Giants have agreed to terms with Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely. All right, guys. I think this is interesting. It teaches us about that and that. Let's bring up Likely's numbers, Paul. I want you to go through what's his stats have been, what he's done the last couple of years, what his injuries are. Why don't you break that down for me as I continue to monitor some of this other free agency news?
All right. Well, this past season, he did wind up playing in 14 games, a bit nicked up. And in fact, he's only had 117 full game season in his career. That was back in 2023. We're looking at only 36 targets, believe it or not, in those 14 games, because they have Andrews there, who is their big play, clutch receiver in the passing game. 27 receptions for 307 yards. That's 11.5 yards a catch. And for his career, he's averaged 11.5 yards a catch. Only had 1 touchdown and 11 first downs on the 27 receptions. So, interestingly enough, I'm sure he comes here with the anticipation that he is going to be able to increase his work in the passing game. He didn't come here to do this, okay? If this, in fact, is a correct deal, because his career highs are 42 catches for 477 yards. You would think Isaiah Likely is not going somewhere as a free agent to put up pedestrian numbers. You would think he would be going somewhere where he thinks he's going to grow those numbers, would you not?
Well, yeah, and you would think that the Giants, to sign him to that type of contract, would also think he can grow those numbers, right?
If the report's true, you have to believe that.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting part of this equation for me. This is the team that signs him believes there's a lot more upside in the passing game. I would think that's the fairest thing to say, no matter who it was going to be, the Giants or somebody else.
6'4", 245 pounds, originally a 4th-round pick back in 2022 by the Ravens. He's come along a little bit. He's got a Coastal Carolina. He was one of those guys that did not have a ton of production in college, came from a smaller school,
right? And
he's kind of worked his way. Remember, he has Mark Andrews there too, Paul. He was never the number 1 tight end in Baltimore. So his opportunities there were also limited to a
Now, here's what
point.
I like about him, though. That's really, really cool. Okay, so over the last 2 seasons, combined 69 receptions and only 3 drops combined over the past 2 seasons.
What was his yards per catch in those years, out of curiosity?
I just mentioned before, it was over 11.
That's very good for a tight end.
To me, you got to like that. The reliability, when you throw him the ball, he's going to fit. Now, as a rookie, interestingly enough, he had 6 drops in 36 receptions. But then in the last 3 years, 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah.
So after that first year, with maybe some rookie yips, perhaps, he has proven to be very, very reliable as a target. And that to me, that holds a lot of water because, I don't like beating on the guy, but Evan Ingram was a very talented player. But, man, he found really bad times to drop the ball.
All right, let's go to Roberto in Florida. He's up next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Roberto, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, you guys pulling a trio today. I love it. Listen, I have questions, right? Especially for the slot receiver, which I always think is most important. Gunner, Achensky, Hyatt. Also, the tight ends. I don't think Bailey's going to be around, but you got Fedoni and you have Johnson. I'm just got a question coming after this. And then for blocking, you have that big tight end, Smith. I think it was number 85, Smith. Now, as far
Manhurts,
as...
you mean? You mean Manhurts?
Yeah, I was going to say...
You mean Manhurts?
Yes. As far as the draft, I don't know if Tate, Styles are going to be around. What do you guys think about Reese and possibly getting Downs? I don't know. I got questions because, if you go, to free agency, I know free agency and salary cap is two different things. It's two different things, but... if this guy comes into free agency, which came from Texas A&M and where he was drafted, I was hoping we got him, Evans. I got a question. How about if Banks comes back to be the number one draft pick corner that he was supposed to be?
I mean, I don't think you could hand him that job, but if he can compete and win it back, that's great. But I think you have to have a guy there along with him that you feel good about starting.
I think your comment about Reese isn't going to fly because Reese isn't going to get to the Giants at 5, John.
No, I think there's a really good chance Cardinal Tate would be there if that's a guy you would want to pick. I would be very surprised if Arvell Reese gets there to 5.
Okay. Sonny Styles definitely won't be, huh?
No, he has a chance to be there. He could be there.
Yeah. That'd be the guy. I mean, we let go Okereke. I don't know, man. I'm hopeful. I see us competing for a good ending this year. So, I just have some questions. That's all. Thank you for having me on the show, guys.
No.
I'll go with that.
I appreciate you calling in, man. Look, obviously the 5th pick is a guy you expect to come in and play right away. You expect an immediate impact, and whether that's Cardinal Tate, whether that's Sonny Styles, whether that's Arvell Reese, whether that's Caleb Downs, whoever, name your Ohio State player that you want. Those guys are going to come in and they can help you right away no matter where you put them.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And regarding the tight ends that you talked about, again, as we discussed a few moments ago, that the tight ends can be a bigger part of the passing game. More and more teams, and the Chiefs were one of the teams that did this a lot, and remember, Matt Nagy was in Kansas City, will use a tight end as a big slot. That is now one of the nouveau schemes that offense is using this league.
I mean, Travis Kelce was a big slot for years.
A long time. Yeah. I mean, that was the first dominant tight end big slot that I think was used in the league over the last several years. And there have been more and more teams doing it.
And that's pretty much what Likely is.
Yeah. That's my point.
He's a big slot.
So I think that's what you're going to see. I mean, if the signing goes down, it takes a lot of pressure off the wide receiver room because there'll be a lot more going to the tight end.
A couple other deals here for you, Paul. Ravens, John Simpson returns there. I believe John Simpson was there previously, correct, before he left, and now he's coming back?
Before he went to the Jets.
Yeah, he was with the Jets. That's what I thought, yes. 3 years, $30 million deal. It's a lot for John Simpson, I think. And then Joseph Osai goes to the Jets. 3 years, $36 million.
Okay.
I also saw a 1-year deal for Kingsley
Enigbare
to the Jets.
The Jets. Aaron Glenn is like, dude, we just traded our 2 best defensive guys.
And they have to spend.
I need defensive players.
Yes. I think so.
So Watson was 3 years, 51 with $34 million guaranteed, to give you a feel in terms of what that looks like.
All right, one of the surprising things for me, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I really thought Wan'Dale Robinson was going to come off the board very quickly. I really did. I'll be frank. I'm surprised.
We're only an hour in.
I know. And how many deals do we have already? 12?
We have
15?
Oh, just came out. Not him, but Brian Daboll reuniting with another former player, Mitch Trubisky, going to the Titans. Actually, I don't think they were ever together in Buffalo. I think he got there after.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And he'll be the backup quarterback there, obviously, to Cam Ward. No,
with Josh Allen?
He beat the Cam Ward.
Cam Ward,
yes. Yeah. No, I don't. I don't, for the record.
I'm just real glad Illuminor hasn't turned up on the screen yet. That's all. Because the longer maybe that he doesn't, maybe it gives the Giants a better chance.
I like that 1 year deal for Enigbar, about $10 million for the Jets, a 1 year prove it deal for a guy coming off his rookie contract, just an edge rusher. I think that makes sense.
Jets keep addressing the defense. DeMario Davis now. 2 years, 22.
He was before.
He got a 2-year deal, huh? That's interesting. I thought he might have to settle for 1 given his advanced age, but he's been really good. I thought might have been a fit for him since the Bears cut Tremaine Edmonds, returning to Dennis Allen.
Could have seen that.
His defensive coordinator with the Saints, who's now the DC for the Bears.
How old is he now?
I think isn't he 38, DeMario Davis? 36?
And he's not even the oldest Saints free agent. Because that would be
37 plus.
Yeah.
Cam Jordan. Isn't Cam Jordan older?
Yeah, I don't know if he's
the same age.
He's around the same age, yeah. And they actually they reworked Kamara's contract again and pushed more money down the road on that, which was it's the Saints. I guess you shouldn't be surprised, but
Davis had
always
143
interesting.
tackles last year.
Dude, he's still good.
At 37 years old?
He doesn't run as quite as well as he used to, but he's still a good player.
But he goes back to the Jets.
All right, let's go to Scott in New Mexico. Scott, what's going on?
Hi guys, how are you?
Good.
Swansea, is Isaiah likely, based on the poll read about his stats? I'm not overly impressed, but I want to give him a chance and see what transpires. But the one glaring issue I see is still the offensive line. And there were some articles I'd read that the Giants potentially would not be keeping John Runyon either. So if Illuminor goes, John Runyon is not retained, and you're putting Marcus Bowe there, you have to replace, and we still don't know about Van Roten. You potentially could have 3 different new starters on the offensive line. And what concerns me is, all of you know it takes a little bit of continuity before that offensive line develops, and that's why they want to make sure they protect Jackson Dart. The right tackle. Trent Williams, even though it seems far-fetched, has only played left tackle to my knowledge. He would be worth it for 2 years or a stopgap measure, but he only plays left tackle, as I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, you aren't. I mean, Trent Williams isn't a stopgap measure. Trent Williams is you're paying him a what load of money, and he's gonna be on the top of your salary structure. In terms of guards, the guys at the top of market: Isaac Seumalo, David Edwards, Elijah Vera Tucker. Those are your 3 guys that are going to make legit money. Probably Seumalo a little bit less than the other 2, in my opinion, just because he's a little bit older. Seumalo over 30 at this point. He's 32. The other guys are just 29 and 27 respectively. And then you have a bunch of veterans out there. Paul mentioned one of Kevin Zeitler. Joel Batonio is another guy who's still a decent player. Wyatt Teller's a veteran out there that's a decent player.
That's what I was about to say.
Wyatt
Teller, because he was just in Cleveland with our new offensive line coach last year.
So, do you think the Giants are more? It's more germane that they look for the guards in the draft, or can they afford to have one of those guards or several of those guards in free agency? That's my basic question. I'll let you guys go.
No, thank you, Scott. And Dylan Parham's another guy that I think is a younger player. You could kind of get in there at one of those guard spots. Look, I would be very leery in terms of, if you want to use pick 37 on a guard and start him, that's fine. I would not trust a day 3 player to plug in and play at one of your offensive line spots. That is too dangerous. I would not do that. I would be very, very nervous to do that. Myself.
I would much rather sign a 1-year stopgap like
Me too.
Zeitler.
Yeah, or Greg Van Roten. Just bring him back then.
Again, that's the other problem. We keep talking about this. We don't know if Van Roten's coming back.
No,
we don't. And if he does, as Matt has said several times, he loves the guy. And you know what? I get it. He's been absolutely functional. He's done the job.
I think at the very, very least, he could serve as your backup interior lineman because he also can play center. He could be backup at all three interior positions. And also, if he has to go into the starting lineup, you're more than comfortable throwing him out there because he's shown the last 2 years he's reliable, he's consistent. I mean, I think that I would love to, as you mentioned, Paul, I love him. I would love to see him back.
And justifiably so. And that may be also one of those veterans that I talk about who's on those 1 year minimums where, hey, we know where you stand. You want to be here. You're not going anywhere. Let us take care of our business. We'll clear the dinner table, and then we'll get back to you when we got to do business. That could be one of those deals, too.
Austin Hooper returns to the Falcons, where he was originally drafted on a small 1 year deal. Nothing else new yet. So let's go back to the phones here at 201-939-4513. First, a couple of YouTube comments. Len, we'll get to you in just a second. Big day, fellas. This is my Xmas from T-Tom13. It's a fun day. We agree. PSY, Guy Bry, you need a couch. I think we need a sectional, actually. I don't think a regular couch will do it, given people trying to jam in here today. Jason Marr, right guard is the most undervalued position in football. Get AVT. That would be Elijah Vera-Tucker. He is all-pro potential when healthy. But that's the key with him. It's the one healthy part, right? He's had multiple injuries over the course of his career. Some have been season-ending with Elijah Vera-Tucker. He's a really good player. He can play guard. He can play tackle. Love him as a player. You just have to make sure you feel good about him from a health standpoint.
That's a perfect example of you sign him and pair him with Greg Van Roten, and then you feel great about your guard. One of them most likely will be out there at all times. And this is, assuming John Runyon is still there. Even if he's not, you could address another guard in the draft. But if you were to sign Isaiah Likely with Greg Van Roten, re-sign Greg Van Roten, I think that is a great start to shoring up the interior of the offensive line.
At 11, Imani, not bringing back J.E. That's Illuminor is playing with fire. I like Bo, but that is just rolling with risk over keeping what you know is proven. We cannot play around with protection for dark. That's kind of how I feel about it, too. I just don't want to mess with the offensive line. I saw it finally got pretty good last year, and I just worry about backsliding. And this is Giants offensive line PTSD. I understand that. It is. I suffer. I talk to somebody about this regularly. I understand. But it's real, and you got to make sure that offensive line is good. At 11, Imani again. Cy, I love Kenneth Walker. Would have loved him in blue, but we really don't need to be looking for a running back right now. Also, just very expensive.
Speaking
and then
of running backs, real quick.
What do you got?
Kenneth Gainwell, 2 years, $14 million with Tampa Bay.
Interesting.
$10 million guaranteed.
So they'll put him.
Great year.
So they'll put him with the little guy from Oregon. Yeah,
Bucky Irving.
I could Bucky Irving. I'll see
Rashad
that.
White is a free agent.
Yeah.
Gainwell's a good player.
No, Gainwell is a very solid player. Correct. I agree with that. And then at 11, Imani. Likely is underrated, man. Dude was a weapon in college. Likely was buried behind Andrews, and he has potential. I'm telling you, he can definitely be a weapon. No, he's going to be tight end, too. Well, again, I think the Giants are going to have two tight end ones. I think they're going to play a lot of...
Mm-hmm.
And look, if I had to guess, since Likely is more likely to be on the field in passing situations... he would probably end up playing more snaps than Theo Johnson. Just because if in 11 personnel you can have your best receiver out there, it's probably going to be Likely over Johnson. So even though Johnson's going to be on the field for those 12 personnel package and running downs, Likely will probably end up getting more snaps just because he's likely to be the receiving tight end.
Easily could be. I mean, I think we'll have to see how things develop during camp and the preseason. And if Johnson somehow gets himself squared away. Remember, he told us at the end of the season, John, he knows that his technique in catching the ball wasn't right, and that was part of the trouble with his drops. If Johnson, can get that squared, well, I'm going to tell you right now, maybe you put them both on the field on third down. If Johnson can get himself squared to the point where he becomes a legitimate, reliable threat, because we think we know what Likely is physically, I would have no trouble with that. Especially if the wide receiver room does not dramatically improve.
All right, let's go. One more at Hooks are up. Likely is a great player, weapon all over the field. Look at his play for Baltimore during the past couple of years. Look, when he's gotten the opportunity, he's been an effective pass receiver. Now, he did have that one play in that game where he fumbled the ball right by the goal line, so you have to clean that up, obviously. Jordan Schultz, again, according to reports, Well, I guess I was wrong on what I said earlier. According to reports, the Giants have agreed to terms pending a physical, and I'm reading the tweet now. Former Ravens punter Jordan Stout agreed to a 3-year, $12 million deal that makes him the highest paid punter in the NFL, per multiple sources. John Harbaugh had Stout in Baltimore and now has him with the Giants. So there you go, remaking the special teams. Ron, I think, was the caller that asked about that earlier. And there you have it. I guess I was wrong about Jamie Gillen.
I don't know that I had punter on my to-do list.
There were, look, and obviously John Harbaugh is going to have very particular opinions when it comes to special teams, given his past, so it makes sense. He likes the player from Baltimore. Man, I didn't even have him on under-the-radar Baltimore players to bring in. I should have. That's my fault. All right, let's go to Len in Columbia, Maryland, and Dash is up after that. Len, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? Well, it's the first day of what's going to turn out to be a very exciting week. You're not going to believe this, but I was going to throw Stott's name out there during this during this call.
I don't believe you, Len. I think you're lying to me.
Assistant head coach just loves the guy. Horton. He just loves the guy. He's a terrific kicker. Listen, this is the first of two opportunities to get better. The draft is the second opportunity. I think we've done very well in the first hour of your show, or hour and a half of your show. I keep thinking back to game 18. First of all, so much for the rumor that Likely was bad-mouthing Harbaugh and had no chance of signing with the Giants.
I didn't even see that rumor. Is that true? I didn't see that.
Yeah. That was the deal. End of the season, they were divided in the locker room, Likely with one faction, not real excited about Harbaugh, and he was talking publicly about it. But so much for that, because Harbaugh likes him. If you saw Harbaugh after Likely made that catch in the last minute, Week 18 against Pittsburgh, 28 yards down the field.
That was a big play.
To get the miraculous play, an unbelievable catch to put them in field goal range. Harbaugh was more excited in the face-to-face with Likely than Likely was to Harbaugh. But, hey, that's a terrific signing. This guy is athletic. It just made too much sense, and whatever it was, I'm glad they got past it. And he's going to be a really good player. We just improved the tight end room a whole lot, and I don't know what the numbers are going to turn out to be. But listen, you look around the roster right now. I was going to say the only two rooms where we're overpaying right now, what's going to happen is in the defensive backfield room. And I was going to say we were also overpaying in the special teams room. I'm still going to say that because I think we're going to get more production out of Stott than we got out of Gillum. Hopefully Stott can hold for kicks, and I'm not sure he did that in Baltimore. I just don't remember.
He did, yes.
And I don't know if he kicked off at all. I just don't trust Gano. I mean, you almost can't have him kick off. It's almost like you feel like there's an accident waiting to happen. But hey, listen, so far this is good. We got better. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get better on this day, this week, and set it up for the draft. So, man, let's keep going. Harbaugh's got a plan. His assistant coaches have a plan. This is from the assistant head coach. Horton loves this punter. And when you get a chance to talk to him, he'll tell you how much he loves this punter. It's good. I'm feeling good so far. I hope it gets better. And we seem to be we're okay. We're in our price range. There's still a little money to be spent, and hey, let's go, Giants.
Thank you, Len.
Thanks for taking my call. I'm excited. Hey, we're an hour and 20 minutes into this, and I'm excited.
You can already Len, you can feel free to call back later in the weekend if you like. And anybody else, guys, we're in the mid-off season now. If you want to call more than once a week, you certainly can. Alex Anzalone, 2 years, $17 million deal to the Buccaneers. I thought that could have been a very reasonable inside linebacker. That would have been a good contract, I think.
I did.
Week. I brought him up. He was in my plan. So didn't know what the Giants' interest level would be, but I thought he'd be around $10 million. He came in at $8.5 a year.
I thought it'd be a tad more expensive.
So I think that's actually a pretty good deal.
It is.
Patriots have signed fullback Reggie Gilliam on a 3-year deal worth up to $12 million. So fullback to the Patriots from Mike Vrabel. That should get him excited, likes those fullbacks. Let's see.
I can answer Len's question.
Did you discuss the reported numbers on Stout?
Yeah, we did. 3 years, $12 million.
I just want to note,
yes.
Obviously this is all reports.
It's the highest.
It would be the biggest deal Punter's ever gotten. So if there's any doubt that the Giants were taking the special teams unit very seriously this offseason, you can put that to rest.
So by the way, you guys want to know how it works behind the sines as we try to get stuff up on the website? That's what Citak's doing right now. Why he hasn't said a whole lot.
Yes. Len, to answer your question, Stout did have 10 kickoffs last year. So, yes, he has done it on a part-time basis when he was required to do so. Actually, in 2024, not in 25. In 2024, 8 touchbacks on his 10 kickoffs. So he had done a little bit of that. He's a Penn State product, by the way. So he has kicked in the Northeast rather frequently.
Yeah, so clearly we worked that tight end room in the Giants. Reworked that special teams room, pardon me, along with the tight end room, I suppose. And that's where they are. Let's go to Bash in Ohio. Bash, it's been a long time, buddy.
How we doing, John? How we been?
We're good, man. What do you got?
Good. I was just calling about the signing of Likely. I like the deal and everything. What's that with the signing of Likely? What did that do with Bellinger? I think he's a free agent, and any other moves. And also wanted to ask, not to take it offline. I know y'all about to close out.
No, we got time, Bash. You're okay. What do you got?
Oh, okay.
We're going till 2 o'clock. You're fine.
I've seen reports of the re-signings of Flott or Illuminor. Is any one of them more possibility than the other as far as the Illuminor and Fout?
Flott, it's a good question. I think those are the two guys to keep an eye on. I think just you have a more ready-made replacement behind the Illuminor and Marcus Bowe, but tackle's also a spot that's harder to fill in free agency, right? There's not a ton of corners, but there's enough corners where you could find a guy to plug in there if you have to. But the offensive tackle market is really just non-existent at this point. So I would still say Illuminor, but I think Flott's very close behind. They should be able to afford both guys if they want. It's just a matter of how big the number goes and whether or not they can come to terms on those types of contracts.
Okay, and also about the our releasing of players as far as for the cap casualties, the update with Gano and the guards that we have. As far as I know, we got a couple of more casualties as far as any updates with those as far as releases coming with the Giants.
We have not had any other word on that yet.
Those guys are still on the team.
You got to remember something. They don't need to do anything until the
Wednesday at 4
incoming
o'clock.
free agents come in and sign.
Right.
Until those things are signed, those numbers that you're hearing reported, those aren't real, and they don't get charged to the cap. So until they actually need that money to give it to someone who signs on the dotted line, they don't have to do anything with anybody.
Let's see. We got, appreciate the call. Thank you, Bash. Good stuff, man. Bears are signing safety Kobe Bryant from the Seahawks, per sources. Another player flees the Seahawks. And then you have the Commanders have apparently come to agreed on terms, according to reports, with cornerback Amik Robinson, a 2-year deal, $16 million, $9 million guaranteed.
A lot less than McDuffie got, right?
No.
Not the same player.
Not the same type of player
Not the same
McDuffie is
kind of
either.
player.
Exactly right.
No. But every corner that comes off the board, leaves us scratching our heads as to what's going on with Cordell Flott.
I mean, he's not at the top of the market. So,
and every time another team signs a different free agent cornerback, I would say, even if it's just very, very slightly, increases the chances of Flott returning.
Perhaps, yeah.
Good for the Giants.
Perhaps. That's why, I'm very, very interested in watching those positions, the tackle position and the corner position. I'm interested as those come off the board because maybe the Giants can somehow retain guys.
Not a lot of tackle free agents.
Not yet.
Flown off the board yet, like every other position.
Well, it's not a strong position either.
That's true.
Rappaport says the Kobe Bryant deal, 3 years, $45 million.
No, that's Kenneth Walker.
Oh, sorry, wrong Seahawk.
I was like, wait a minute.
Wrong Seahawk.
Wait a minute.
Wrong Seahawk.
Right.
My bad. Sorry about that. Wrong Seahawk. No.
Jordan Schultz just tweeted the Titans are signing former Giants tight end Daniel Bellinger, reuniting him with Brian Daboll.
How about that?
So everyone was focused on Wandell potentially joining Dabes in Tennessee.
Wow.
Sounds like Daniel Bellinger's on his way there.
Yeah, he was a big fan of him. He was a big fan of his. I'm not surprised that that's the case with Bellinger heading there. So, again, we're about an hour and 25 minutes into this. We'll go. If you guys want to give us a call, we're going to go to 2 here. So we'll take your calls if you want to get in here. 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Matt, do you want to give me your take on Likely? You haven't really had a chance to say much because you've been trying to get stuff posted here.
Give me like 2 more minutes.
Yes, I'll give you like 2 more minutes. Not a problem. One of the reasons, by the way, we decided to do the 3-man setup here because we knew if something happened while you're on the air, that Matt might have to do a little bit of work while we're on the air here. So this is exactly what you're doing as you guys get a little peek behind the scenes of exactly what this looks like. So, Paul, I do wonder how this impacts whether or not you even want to bring in a guy that can play slot wide receiver. If Likely's going to be that guy, can you go for a cheaper option there, a day 3 draft pick, something like that, where Likely's basically your slot wide receiver now, and you're figuring out what to do after that?
I mean, it's clear, really. I mean, if the reported numbers are accurate, it's clear that he is now going to be a significant part of what the Giants want to do offensively and schematically. Yes, John, there's no doubt. And look, I said this last week. We had a guy call up on the show. I think it was on when I was with Matt. I don't think it was with you, John. We had somebody say, hey, if you got Olszewski, coming back, and give him some slot reps. And Jalen Hyatt was a slot guy at Tennessee. And if this is his Custer's last stand, if this is his last shot to try to stay either in the NFL or with this team, you throw him back there where he was with Tennessee, and you say, you and Olszewski, have at it, compete in training camp, and maybe one of you guys can hold down the spot, because it doesn't look like that's going to be
that's risky.
It doesn't look like that's going to be a featured spot in this offense right now for a wide receiver. It looks like a lot of those snaps are going to go to one of the tight ends.
Well, you hope it goes better for Hyatt than it went for Custer.
I would agree with that.
I think so would he.
I would absolutely agree with that.
201-939. You chose the name, not me. 201-939-4513. Let's go to line 1. Big Lou in North Carolina. What's up, Big Lou?
What's going on, fellas? Thank you for having me.
What do you got?
So far the news is that we may be acquiring Isaiah Likely, the tight end. Excited about that. Not too pleased about the Bellinger move. I don't think he got enough time to show what he was made of and what he can bring to the team. But you can't be upset when you acquire a guy like Isaiah Likely. And I'm just wondering now with the Wandell Robinson situation, if we're going to be adding a new wide receiver to this core, because you have a Malik Neighbors, who's coming back off an injury, and a Darius Slayton, who has had a case of the dropsies for multiple seasons now, especially in big games and big moments. So I'm starting to worry about what this wide receiver room is going to look like. You got Cam Scatterbull coming back off an injury, Tyrone Tracy. I believe those are a good 1-2 punch when you have a healthy Cam Scatterbull. Tyrone Tracy brings a catching element out of the backfield as a former wide receiver. I believe Cam Scatterbull catches the ball out of the backfield as well. So with the addition of Isaiah Likely at the tight end position, you're giving Dart more options to throw the ball to, obviously. But the interior offensive line is something that scares me as well. Addressing that and getting that repaired is something that I think is one of the most important things that we need to address in this free agency and the draft.
No, Big Lou, I think you're right. I think both those spots are spots you got to keep an eye on. I don't think you could go, next year and just bring back the receivers you have on the roster. Someone's going to have to get added somewhere, whether that's in free agency or the draft. I don't think you ever want to leave a huge hole there on your roster before you get to the draft. So I think the Giants will do something, whether that's a more of an outside guy or, again, maybe not a slot guy if you see Isaiah Likely as your big slot. I don't know how the Giants would consider that. But, yeah, look, I think both those spots, and guard specifically, I mean, look, Greg Van Roten's a free agent. You don't really have anyone else on the roster you feel good about stepping in and taking that spot. So I'm with you. I think both those spots, Big Lou, are spots that you will have to kind of keep an eye on as you move forward here.
Absolutely. So I just got a quick question for you guys, because I know you guys got other calls and you want to get everybody. What is your position on picking a linebacker such as Sonny Styles if he's there at 5?
Appreciate the call, Lou. In this year's draft class, given how good Styles is and the rest of the class and not having elite players at premier positions, I would not have a problem picking Sonny Styles at 5. Paul?
How could you?
Okay.
We've been talking about him now for a while. You know, the bottom line with Styles, he is so intelligent. He's played so many games with the Buckeyes that you would think that the amount of rookie mistakes he make will be a little bit more limited, John. You know, we talked to Pat Kerwin about this, and Pat is very big on at the key positions that require a lot of football acumen and a lot of high mental grades. The guys who are in school the most and play the most snaps before they come into the NFL are going to be less risky because the mental is such a big deal. Styles qualifies, right? He qualifies in that particular category. So you would feel a little better about him than you might another rookie who would be thrown into that spot with the green dot.
And same with Carnell Tate, by the way.
Yes.
As Ohio State wide receiver, I think you would feel similarly. Both guys are very safe picks. I think there's a very low bust factor for both of those picks, which is why both should be in consideration at pick number 5. Even with that, it's funny, by the way, I should bring this up now before I forget it. You know, we talked about that Tate 40 time last week, the 4.54. Right. So NFL IQ, which I haven't had a chance to really dive into it yet. The NFL just launched this new service, NFLIQ.com.
It's wild.
So Tate, his top speed on his 40 actually got just as fast as like Chris Brosel's. So he just had a slow start.
Right.
But he actually built up his speed pretty well. So that's something I'm going to have to dive into a little bit more on what those numbers look like. So it might just be he didn't do enough, sprinter training and his start stunk.
Well, and let's not forget, folks, at the Combine, what are they doing when they run the 40?
They're in 3-point stance.
Bingo.
Or sprinter stance, whatever you want to call it.
And they haven't done 3-point stances at wide receiver in the National Football League since like the mid to late 70s.
Since Paul was a teenager.
No, I mean, come on. Seriously.
I'm a grown adult. So.
They used to do that. Wide receivers did 3-point stances out on the boundaries.
In the 70s?
All the way up until the mid to late 70s. And then it was like, nope, now we're going to stand him up. So, he got off to a bad start. You think I give a rat's behind about getting off to a bad start at the Combine 40?
No. By the way, I was not, if it means you don't have a lot of explosion from a stop position, it does.
Yeah, but if it means that from having your hand in the ground, I don't care.
Correct. All right, I wasn't that far off, actually. Kobe Bryant, 3 years, $40 million. So I misread it as Kenny Walker, but I was not that far off on that deal. That according to Jordan Schultz. You guys mentioned the Daniel Bellinger move. Trying to see if anything else is popping up here. I don't see. Oh, and the Lions are apparently close to signing center Cade Mays, which makes sense. They need a center. Obviously, Frank Ragnow had retired a couple years ago, so they need someone at that center position for them to start there. So. Certainly a good move, I think, from the Lions there as they try to re-solidify that offensive line. All right, let's go back to the phones. Richard's in Connecticut. He's up next. Richard, what's going on, man? And guys, again, we're going till 2 today, so we still got about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes to take your calls. Get on the line. Richard, what's happening?
How you doing? I watch your show every day.
Thank you, Richard.
Appreciate it.
I'm a two-heart Giant fan.
Great. What do you got?
I'm trying, Jackson Dart. I think he's the answer for a quarterback, but we need to work on receivers, I think.
Anyone you like that you think they should bring in?
I don't know. What do you think?
Look, the wide receiver market is going to get expensive. The only guy we've seen really go off the board in terms of free agents, and this was him re-signing with his own team, was Alec Pierce. I don't think, Matt, we've seen any other wide receivers go off the board yet from what I remember thinking about the guys. You got guys like Wanda Robinson, Mike Evans, Romeo Doubs, Juwan Jennings, Rashid Shaheed. I think those are the 5 top guys that were on the wide receiver market, unless I'm forgetting somebody.
Mike Evans is probably going to push that Alec Pierce contract, at least in terms of average.
You think?
He's not going to get 4 years at this point, but for the reports I've seen, he's going to push that, at least get close to that 28.5 number.
He went back to Tampa a couple years ago on a bit of a bargain contract. He could have gotten more out of that contract if he wanted to, but I think it sounds like he's looking to make one final cash in and probably try to go to a contender on top of that.
It sounds like he's going to at least have offers in that ballpark.
Wow.
It could be of teams that he doesn't want to go to, so he might not take it, but the reports I've seen said he's at least one team is interested in paying him $25+ million.
I'll say this. The gentleman who runs the Spot Rack website, who does a really good job with contracts in the league and stuff.
Kane May's 3 years, 25, according to Joe Person, who covers the Panthers.
Well, to that point, the Spot Rack average market value that he is suggesting for these free agents is way too low for practically every guy who has agreed to a deal so far. He's just way, way out of the ballpark.
How about this? 41-year-old Nick Folk is signing a 2-year deal with the Falcons.
When you don't have a kicker, you need a kicker.
Well, he's inside, right? Think about that.
What else Richard, what else he got?
I think the Giants need to get a receiver and work on the offensive line, and I think they'll be fine.
All right. Good call, Richard. I appreciate the call, man. Another punter deal. Former Dolphins punter Jake Bailey, a 3-year, $9 million deal, $5 million fully guaranteed. But Schefter doesn't say where he's going. He just says another punter deal. Former Dolphins punter Jake Bailey, but Schefter doesn't say where he's signing.
He's probably just copying and pasting and
just rapid firing on the tweeting.
I've seen between him and Rappaport so many times of them tweeting something, then within 5 seconds editing the tweet, and it's like, here is a new version of the tweet because they forgot the team that he is actually signing with.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, no other deals right now, so let's go back to the phones. 201. Or do you want me to give you a quick likely take?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's not surprising, really.
No pun intended.
Obviously, he was one of the bigger named free agents from Baltimore that people thought there's a decent chance the Giants are going to pursue to some degree. I think he's obviously somewhat similar to Theo Johnson in the style of tight end that he plays, but that matches well with the Chris Manhart signing that was earlier today, because he's obviously more of a blocking tight end. I will say this deal probably eliminates the possibility of Paul. I think you don't have to worry about me bringing up my boy in the draft anymore, because
you must be crushed. I didn't think about that.
I don't see how Eli.
I'm sorry. Are you okay?
That's now,
are you all right?
He's the same sort of tight end as Isaiah Likely. So Paul, congrats. You don't have to hear me talk about him for the next month and a half.
You see,
now.
I don't have that problem because I'm a Fordham guy, and Fordham guys don't get drafted in the NFL. So I never have that issue with those man crushes that you had.
But it is the same similar type. I would say
you're right.
Stowers probably a little bit more athletic, maybe, at least in terms of some of the metrics at the combine, but similar type of tight end. So honestly, it's not too surprising that the Giants wanted to add a tight end like that. And then just real quick about Stout. We knew John Harbaugh was going to come in and prioritize improving the special teams. I don't think any of us were surprised by that. Stout was an All-Pro last year, first team All-Pro, coming off his best season. This is only going to be his 5th year in the league. Not that surprising that the Giants wanted to reportedly make him the highest paid punter to get him here. That's just solidifies that position where you don't have to worry about it now at all.
Yeah.
So I like it. It makes sense.
No, I'm with you. All right, 201-939-4513. Marty and Manahawkin. Marty, what's happening, pal?
Hey, John, how are you?
What's up, Matty?
Resty is.
Hey.
Resty is.
I wonder if this means that they would pass up if they had a chance to grab Charlie Kolar, because I could see them still taking him because he's a double head attack. He can block real well, and he definitely has good hands. He showed that at Iowa State that he could definitely catch the ball. So I mean, I don't think I would count him out. What's your feelings about that?
I don't see them spending any more money on the tight end position after they just reportedly have signed or agreed to a deal with Likely. I just don't see it, especially since he's more of a blocker, big frame guy. That's what Manhurts is, and we've heard that Manhurts apparently has agreed to a deal to come back. So resources are getting real thin, my friend, really, really thin.
I mean, they're not that thin yet.
They've got other spots to go.
I understand, but they've not spent a ton of money yet.
Yeah, but if they're going to, you got a tackle and you got a corner you got to worry about.
I get it.
Also, it just came out the numbers for Bellinger. Reportedly, he's getting 3 years, $24 million.
Oh, good for him.
Which is a great deal for him. But if he's getting that much, Charlie Kolar is probably getting more than that. And do you want to?
I think same neighborhood. I think
Charlie Kolar will end up beating that, even if it's just by a little bit. But point being, I don't know how you fit another tight end making that much money onto the roster now.
No, I think that's fair. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, makes sense. I got to go by what you guys say. You're closer to it than I am. So, thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate the call, man. Yeah, I mean, Kolar doesn't have the production that Bellinger has had over the first few years of his career, just in terms of catches and everything. He always had much of a chance to do it. But yeah, I'm curious to see.
I hear you, but it's not like we're talking about Bellinger has been this like high-powered.
No. I'm with you. So we really haven't seen two of the markets that we were keeping an eye on, offensive tackle or wide receiver, really hit yet. Like, no one's set that market yet. We've seen it at corner a little bit. We've seen some corners go off the board, Jalen Watson, Amik Robertson. But we have not seen really any offensive tackles, and we really haven't seen any wide receivers really go yet. So that's something that I think worth noting.
How many inside backers have gone so far?
Anzalone.
That's it?
Demario Davis.
Oh, that's right, Davis. That's two.
Those are the two.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Tom Pelissero reporting the Falcons are making a strong push to sign Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. A deal could, but I missed the second half while they took it off the screen.
That was a couple hours ago.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Lefty.
I think I'm not sure if I'm with you or you, Paul. We tried to figure out a good landing spot for Tua.
Yeah.
And we're looking for dome teams.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dome team.
There's a dome team
where the other quarterback is a lefty. They're both statues in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing in the division where you're going to you're playing Tampa. You're playing Carolina. Like, these are the Saints. These are all good weather
or domes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that makes sense if you're going to go there. 201-939-4513. We'll squeeze in a couple more calls. Folks, if you want to get in on us, if you don't want to, maybe we'll get out of here a little bit before 2 so Matt can go work before Salomon comes running in here like the Kool-Aid guy and pulling his butt back upstairs. After Dave left the hole in the door, he can just walk right through it. But not a lot of other news coming out immediately now, but there is obviously a lot of action right now. But those two markets, I do wonder if there's competition for the top guys. If the top guys are asking for more than teams are willing to pay, I'm curious what's the delay in those two categories.
That's what I was about to say, is that other than Jalen Phillips, we have not seen really any of the top guys at their respective positions sign deals, really. I mean, I got Alec Pierce as well. He re-signed, but again, the two guys that have re-signed have gotten the two biggest deals of any free agent so far, Alec Pierce and Jalen Phillips. We haven't really seen, Tyler Linderbaum is the top center. Maybe now that Cade Mays is a tier, maybe a couple of tiers probably below Linderbaum, but now that he has a deal, at least somewhat set the market. So,
Kenneth Walker set the market running back. That would be the only one.
You're right.
But you're right. But Devin Lloyd, Jamal Dean,
Mike Evans, who arguably is the top wide receiver now available outside of Pierce. Kyler Murray's going to end up, I feel like, with the Vikings. It makes
Everybody
sense.
thinks so.
Everyone thinks so. It makes sense. But yeah, the middle linebackers especially is a position where I've only seen two guys really fly off the board so far. There's still a decent amount of guys left, and obviously is a position the Giants will be addressing one way or another.
Look, if the Giants are really lucky and the way things shake down and some of the other big ticket items at other positions go, maybe there's an opportunity that they may get a depressed market on the inside linebackers, and maybe they can get a guy at a discount in the second wave. Maybe. I don't know.
What kind of guy are you talking about?
Probably one of the old fellas.
Well, there's only one left.
Yeah. Well, would you take him for a year?
Maybe. 201.
Who's this?
Bobby Wagner. I'm sure you Paul's talking
Bobby
about.
Wagner.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah.
He's pretty old.
For 1 year?
For 1 year?
Yeah, look, he's not Bobby Wagner of a decade ago, but he's not that far off from where he was those years ago.
He can't really run anymore, but yes, he's still a very good player.
Clearly not the same level. He's older.
But again, I think if you want a thumper in the middle of the defense against the run, he could still certainly do that.
Every part of attack. Every part of a John Harbaugh defense screams thumper in the middle that can stop
and
the run.
Smart guy, organize, lead the unit. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's go to Bob in New Jersey. He's up next, and he wants to talk about inside linebackers. Bob, what's going on?
Yeah. Hey, if Styles isn't there, who's the backup to Styles?
In the draft?
Or at inside linebacker?
Yeah.
One of the next guys who probably wouldn't be in play until the early second round would be probably Anthony Hill.
Yep.
Texas.
Mm-hmm. You also have Trotter's brother.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, what do you got?
Just tweeted. Tyler Linderbaum agreed to a 3-year deal with the Raiders.
$70 million.
3 years, $81 million. With $60 million guaranteed.
Gee, I would have taken
27 a year.
That is a lot of money for a center.
And once again, how could
mackerel.
people in good conscience write that Linderbaum was even a possibility to the Giants when you consider that price tag?
Well, I mean, I think no one thought 27.
Yeah, but you know it was going to be high.
No, you knew it was going to be high.
all
I
knew
know
it was going to be
People were
high.
saying over 20, but I don't know. 27, I'm not sure anyone.
My
Many
goodness.
people.
Hey,
were
look
expecting
here.
that.
Look, and here's the bottom line. And Bob, stick with us. We're not hanging up on you. Hang up.
Okay.
We'll get to you. Hold on one second.
Sure.
The Raiders have so much cap space. They're going to draft a rookie quarterback. What could be more important than getting a center that could help him with all the protections and all that stuff?
Absolutely.
And solidify the pocket in front of a guy who, while he's mobile, Mendoza's not a statue. He's not Lamar Jackson either, right? So if you're going to overpay if you're the Raiders, that's exactly the type of player I would overpay for.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does make sense for them with where they're going, the direction of their team.
And they had to pay. They were one of the teams that had to fork over more money.
And they were never going to spend all that money in terms of their cap space that they had.
No.
So
another running back off the board.
What do you got?
Tyler Algier to the Arizona Cardinals. That 2-year deal.
And they just reworked James Conner's contract as well over the weekend. So I like Algier. I actually think
they still have what's his name?
Benson.
Trey Benson. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that Algier is good enough to be a starter in this league.
I agree.
I think he's a good player.
That's a crowded running back room.
What were the numbers on that?
2 years, 12 and 12 million and change.
That's not. I thought he'd get more than that. That's only 6 per for him. Wow, I think that's a good bargain. If you want a thumper, a guy that's going to be a good, goal line guy, between the tackles grinder type that gets you 18 carries a game, you could do a lot worse than Tyler Algier. I think that's a really good signing.
Pretty similar runner to James Conner.
I agree.
James Conner is bigger.
So I guess they want
similar types.
They want the true two-headed monster where you don't lose anything or change anything when you go from one guy to another.
Try to trade Trey Benson now?
I mean, he's coming off
second-round pick. What, 2 years ago?
Yeah, he's played.
No, but I mean.
No, I hear you.
He's a top running back prospect.
I guess he would be your change of pace home run hitter type, right?
He just got hurt for a lot of last season.
And he barely got on the field his first year either, for that matter. All right, Bob, I'm sorry. What inside linebacker we were talking about? Help me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm asking you. Were you in the middle of a question? We interrupted you. I apologize.
Oh, yeah, no, we were talking about who would be next in line if Styles wasn't available. You didn't mention Trotter, but he didn't have much experience in college.
I have not done my full write-up on Trotter yet. I know a lot of people like him. Anthony Hill is a guy. Jacob Rodriguez is a guy that I like better than any of the guys. Back, folks. Sorry about that. We had a little battery problem on the camera there where everything cut out on us. So now we will be with you for the next 10 minutes. We apologize for that. Thank you, Pearson, for saving us there. We thank you very much. 201-939-4513. So I think what you guys just missed, if you were streaming this, was the linebacker conversation we were having. We did finish the conversation with the caller. Nobody just happened to see it or hear it. But C.J. Allen would have been the second linebacker off. You mentioned Anthony Hill from Texas. He probably is going to be the third one. Josiah Trotter's a little bit later on. Jacob Rodriguez, another guy I like.
Drake
Bryce
Golday.
Betcher. Drake Golday from Cincinnati, who's a bigger guy. It's actually a really good off-ball linebacker class.
Yeah. So I would love to, no matter what happens in free agency, love to add one in the draft at some point.
Yes.
Doesn't necessarily have to be 5, although I would love Sonny Styles as a 5, but any of those guys we just mentioned, spanning from the 5th pick to, potentially the 4th round pick, you will be able to get a good linebacker later in the draft this year because given the depth.
Yeah, the Ravens reports really tried to bring Linderbaum back, but at that number, that is just
they were never getting there.
No,
that is a market-setting contract for center. Look at it this way: if they were willing to go there, they would have just activated the franchise tag on him. Because that would have been less.
Yeah, for sure. It would have been several million less.
What is it, 24 on offensive lineman, 25, something like that?
Except that would have been all hit in the first year.
Yeah,
that is true. Which obviously
you couldn't have broken it up.
Which is obviously very difficult to navigate when you get there. All right, let's make this. We could do 2 more, Johnny Mac. Let's go to Brian in New York. He will be our next to last caller. Brian, what's going on?
Hey guys, love the stream. I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet. I just got in.
That's okay.
But you guys, this Tyler Linderbaum contract, it's just like, I'm so scared about Illuminor. I know it's a different position on the line, but if centers are getting that, like a right tackle that can pass block, I mean, he's going north of $20 million to me, without a doubt. We got to mortgage the future. We got to do whatever we can do to get Illuminor back.
Hey, look, last Friday we had a conversation with Joel Corey on the Giants Huddle podcast. I'll retweet it right now. You guys should go check it out. It was a great conversation. Look, if I'm Illuminor's agent, I'm looking for 20, and that's where I'm starting, right? And then we'll see where it goes from there. You look at the Dan Moore contract last year. You could use that as a point of reference. Heck, Jaylen Brown, I think it was. Jaylen Moore last year was a backup for the 49ers, went to the Chiefs, got $15 million a year, wasn't even a starter.
Right.
So
Did the Texans just sign somebody today? I think it was a guard.
Ed Ingram got a pretty hefty contract. What was that, about $13 million a year for him?
3 years, $39 million.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
To go back to Houston.
Oh, okay. All right.
But he's a guard.
Go ahead.
No, I just say, but he's a guard.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. All right. But, yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. We need Illuminor back in the worst way. Like, I like Bo. I really like Bo. But I'm not ready to put him in that position yet.
Appreciate
stream, guys.
Hey, appreciate the call, man. Thank you, Brian. All right, let's go to Derek in Binghamton. He's up next. Derek, what's happening?
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Hi. Good. Hey, so we're looking at wide receiver, I believe, looking at the free agents. I think we need to get an underrated wide receiver. Not sure the price, but I believe Romeo Doubs could be a fantastic fit for us.
I don't think he's making any less than Wan'Dale Robinson.
I was going to say, I think he's, based on what you just said, I think he's going to get paid more than you think he will.
I think that conversation starts
at a cheap contract.
That conversation starts at $15 million, and you see where it goes.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least 12.5, 13 million, but probably more.
I'll tell you this, caller. I would have been much more inclined to do that if you had not spent the kind of money you're spending on Likely, because now you're making the tight end component much bigger in your passing game than it was before, and you're saying that the wide receiver's role or the wide receiver room's role in the passing game is going to be a little bit deflated because you've got now 2 big-time tight end weapons in the passing game. So you're going to look to spend less on that wide receiver room. I think it's going to be someone who can really spread the field with speed outside. I'm thinking Jalen Naylor from the Vikes is going to come in at single digits a year.
Hey, you know what? I've heard somebody say the other day that he might get to 10.
Well, I certainly hope not, because I'd like to get him cheaper than that, because I think he'd be a good fit.
What about someone like Tyquan Thornton?
And that's another guy we mentioned last week.
I think he will go for single-digit million.
I threw out Christian Kirk as a guy maybe you're buying low on.
It's an interesting one.
Anyway.
Look, there are a bunch of wide receivers.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Brian, look, there are a bunch of wide receivers out there. You can always find them. It's just a matter of, I'm sorry, Derek, it's just a matter of where you... It's a matter of playing the market, right? And that's going to be a second or third wave signing that you're going to get maybe at the end of this week, beginning of next, once a lot of the guys at the top of market drop off the board.
And it is a good wide receiver class.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you there. Good stuff.
Thornton is also a very different type of wide receiver than the guys that
Johnny, you can take one more.
He's more of the deep threat. He's not your slot possession sort of receiver.
Yeah, Thornton's a deep
big
ball
play,
guy. Correct.
Similar, I guess, to Darius Slayton's style of play. So
yeah, I agree with that.
So I guess maybe I don't know how likely that would be then.
So likely he made it unlikely.
Like the word is just now stuck in my head.
Okay.
All right, we're about to wrap up here, guys. Thanks for being with us all during the show. You guys did a great job. This has been a lot of fun. Your guys' thoughts on what's next? My eyes on the offensive line. What's going to happen there? Because there's holes there. How are the Giants going to fill them? That to me right now, an inside linebacker are my two top priorities.
I was going to say between guard and Jermaine Illuminor / right tackle in general, and then inside linebacker. If there are any more moves today,
and corner.
That's the other one. You got to put corner up there. You have to. There are three right now. There are three significant issues that need to be addressed, and we've just mentioned all three. None of them are lesser than the others, in all honesty, because they are serious positions that need to be dealt with.
I will say, I think given the amount of middle linebackers available on the market, maybe the Giants are not in an immediate rush to address that position. Maybe they feel more comfortable waiting it out a couple days and then getting maybe not the top tier level guy, but a tier down from that at maybe somewhat more of a bargain deal, just given, again, how much depth there is. I would say probably not the case, at least I think the guard might be the next somewhat big signing, just because, as we talked about for the last 2 months, Jackson Dart's development is the most important thing for this team moving forward. And right now, you just don't have an offensive line in front of him. So I don't think that's the position where you necessarily fully, shop the bargain bin.
I agree with you.
Maybe for depth, but in terms of adding a starter, that would be my guess.
And I do feel pretty decent about getting a corner at 37 in the draft. There's a pretty decent set of corners that could get to 37. But again, you don't want to head into the draft counting on that, because then you're looking at a hole and you don't want to be in that situation.
But
so
similar to what we were saying about, inside linebacker, where you could add a guy or two now and then still draft, Sonny Styles or someone else come next month. I feel like similar to cornerback. I mean, you have Paulson Adebo on one side. You could sign maybe somewhat of an older veteran on a cheap 1 or 2 year deal, and then add a corner at perhaps 37 that maybe isn't ready day one to step in and start, but gives him that veteran there gives him a little bit of time to develop and grow into that role. I wouldn't be shocked if something like that happened. And we just see Travis Etienne to the Saints.
Gentlemen, appreciate the time.
Cool. Fun day.
All right, and we'll keep track of this tomorrow. We'll be back normal time, 12:30 to 1:30 tomorrow. And then, Paul, how do you feel? Is it me and you on Wednesday? I haven't looked at the schedule.
Yeah, it is.
Do you want to do 4 o'clock at the start of the league year?
Why not?
Knock it out?
Let's do it.
We'll only do an hour because I got to pick up my kids from school. But we can do an hour at 4 o'clock on Wednesday when the league year hits. So, for Matthew Citak, for Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. That's Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants, saying Sayonara from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better.